Ordering PowerPlans for an inpatient. Ordering PowerPlans basically starts in the same manner that you would place any other orders. On the orders page, there's a blue plus add button in the top left corner. When we click on that button, it brings up our order scratch pad. In the search window, I'm going to type in admit. You'll see that we have admit PowerPlans built for just about every unit on the inpatient floors. I'm going to choose admit medical. And I'm going to say done. I know that the name of this order set is admit to medical care, and I know that those are the orders that I'm viewing in the right-hand window because that's what's highlighted on the left-hand side. In the PowerPlan, you can see that some orders are pre-defaulted with a check mark and other orders are not. Typically, pre-defaulted check marks are in the most common orders, and the other orders are there for convenience and ease. So let's start on this order set. Admit patient order, inpatient medical unit. Cardiac surveillance is not checked, so if you want your patient on a monitor, you must place a check mark in this order. If you'd like to consult a physician, we've left 2 consult physician orders available for your efficiency. In the condition and code status, we've also pre-defaulted the patient condition of fair and the resuscitation status of full resuscitation. If you'd like to change this, some orders have a down arrow next to their details window, and that lets you know that there's multiple choices that we've created so that it's easy for you to change the details of this order. So if I want to say that this patient's condition is good, I simply click on the down arrow and select good, and you'll see that it changes my details here. I'm going to drop down the details window so that we can continue on our orders. You'll see that vital signs and Q12 hours is pre-defaulted. On the medical unit, that is the standard of care of Q12 hours, and that's how all admit order sets are built. However, if you'd like your vital signs to be more frequent or less frequent, click on the down arrow, and I can say no, I prefer my orders or my vitals to be Q8 hours. We've not pre-defaulted any activity orders, so you'll have to select the activity level for your patient. In the patient care orders, the only thing that we've pre-defaulted is a pain assessment. We want to make sure that at least every 4 hours your patient is being assessed for their pain level. But if you'd like the patient on intake and output, or if you'd like them to have a daily weight, you must pre-check those. Diet is another section that we've not pre-defaulted any diet, but we've tried to build the most frequently ordered diets. So I'm going to order this patient to be on a regular diet. If I don't want them to be on a diet order that I see here, you can add orders to plans relatively quickly. At the top of our orders, there's another blue add button, but this one says add to phase. That means we're going to add an order right into this plan. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to choose that I'm adding an order. My scratch pad window comes up, and if I type in diet and hit enter, I get all of the diet orders that are built in Cerner. So I can say that I want a 1500 calorie diet for my patient. And I'm going to say done. And as you look in the diet section, you can now see that the 1500 calorie diet is added, and it's pre-defaulted checked now. So now I've gone top to bottom, and I've check marked the content that I want for the orders for this patient who's being admitted to the medical care unit. Now, to get orders to assigned state, we must do a 3-step process. The first step in that is clicking on the yellow light bulb initiate button in the top of your orders page. Doing that, you'll see each check mark has changed to a light bulb. The computer has now taken those orders and begun to initiate them. You'll notice too now that this is the time where we're going to address the blue circles and complete all the details for our orders. So I'm going to first click on the item that I see with the blue check mark, which is admit patient, And I'm going to open up my details window a little bit further so it makes it easier for me to see what details are being asked. And it's asking for an admitting physician. So I type in the physician who's going to be admitting this patient. The next order that has a blue circle is consult to physician. So if I highlight consult to physician, down here in the details window are the details for that particular order. And I can type in the physician's name that I would like consulted, and I can give him a reason why. So I'm going to keep scrolling down and make sure I don't have any further blue circles. And I also notice that there's orders here that have yellow icons in front of them instead of a clipboard icon. And I think, ooh, I may want to address some of those at this time, and you still can. So I want to address restraints for this patient. So if I place a check mark in front of that order, it does bring up that smaller order. It's kind of like a mini order in our big order set. Notice that for all of the restraint orders, they were all check marked, which means they all have a yellow light bulb. But one of them does need some additional information. So I'm going to highlight the restraint initiation order, and down below it's asking me for two things: the reason for the restraint and the restraint that I would like to use. So when I fill in those details, my blue circle has now gone away, and I'm going to return to my bigger care set order. So I can do that here. Now, I believe that those are all the blue circles, so we've addressed all the mandatory details that were required for the orders we had selected. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll notice that the button that used to say sign now says orders for signature. This is to make it easy for you. When we click on that button, our order set shrinks up and you only have a view of the orders that had check marks placed in them. So it's kind of your final check to make sure these are the orders that you would like to place. And if so, the button now has changed back to sign, and you may sign them. This is a duplicate order alert saying we already have a consult to a physician, and these are two different physicians, so that's all right, and I'm going to say order anyway. Once we suffice any alerts that come up, our screen goes blank and the top of it says processing, please refresh. It wants us to refresh our screen. So up in the upper right hand corner you can see our refresh button, and if I click on that, now I view all of the orders that I placed for my medical care set. I want you to take notice of the care set or power plan orders in this window. These say initiated. That means that those orders are active orders and they've completed their ordering process. Now we've ordered our admission order set. We're halfway done. We also need to add an order set that's diagnosis related for each patient. So I'm going to go to the blue add window, or the blue add. We're halfway done now placing orders for our admitting patient. I'm going to go up to the blue plus add button and click on that to get my scratch pad open. And I'm going to type in abdominal pain. I see that there are two order sets that are built, an abdominal pain adult and abdominal pain pediatric. I know that these are order sets or power plans because they have the yellow icon in front of them. I'm going to choose abdominal pain adult. And once that comes up, I'm going to say done. Now I'm in the abdominal pain adult order plan. And I'm going to work through that the same way that I did with the admitting plan. So I'm going to start at the top. And remember, I already said a consult to Dr. Aaron, so I don't need to place any other additional consults at this time. In the patient care orders, more specific to abdominal pain are nasogastric tube orders. I do want an NG tube in my patient, so I'm going to order that, and I'm going to order the care and the flushing of that order as well. I do want my patient on oxygen, so I'm going to place an order there. IV fluids are built as a mini power plan within this plan, so I need to select what IV fluid I'd like for my patient. And we've built out, again, the top choices, but then left it up to you to pick what choice you most frequently choose. So I'm going to choose D5.45 with 20 kcal. And I don't run it to run at 42 cc's an hour, and you'll notice that we've also built additional rates. I want to return to my big abdominal pain order set, and I want to continue working through that. You'll see that we've picked an antibiotic for you here. If you don't want this antibiotic, but you'd like to pick a different one, you may simply uncheck this antibiotic, and you can place a check mark in the antibiotic that you choose. Any order that has a check mark in it, you may uncheck, and you may choose another order. I also want to place an order for this, and I want to place some lab orders. And you'll see that all these lab orders in this are already pre-defaulted for a tomorrow morning collection time. So I want a CBC tomorrow, I'd like a PT and a PTT tomorrow, and I'd like a BMP for tomorrow. I'd also like an amylase and a lipase level. We have included the transfusion of blood products adult here. In this case, my patient doesn't need any blood, so I don't need to open this order set. And I do want a KUB. And this is already defaulted in as an ASAP with the reason of abdominal pain. And I'm going to get an EKG on this patient's stat. Now at this time, again, a 3-step process for placing our orders. So the first step in our process is up on top to click on the light bulb initiate button, which will turn my check marks to light bulbs, and it will allow me to fill in the details for my orders. So I'm going to scroll all the way to the top just to make it easier for me and work my way down. So I look for any blue circles, and I do have one here on my medical imaging test. And it's asking me if my patient is pregnant, and so I'm going to select no. It's set for a priority of ASAP, and my reason is abdominal pain, and those are appropriate, and I'm going to leave those as is. I work down my order set, and I don't see anything else. But then I realize that I want this order set over and over again. I frequently order the same IV fluid, I frequently order the same lab tests and the same medical imaging tests on any typical abdominal pain patient. So what I'd like to do is to save this plan as one of my very own favorites so that I don't have to keep check marking the same 4 or 5 or 6 items each time I select abdominal pain. So down at the very bottom of my order set, I see a button that says Save as My Favorite. The recommendation is to not click on the Save as My Favorite until you've filled in all the appropriate details, because then the details and the sentences will stick as well, and you won't have any blue circles the next time that you go to place this order set. So now that I have finished all of my details, I'm going to say Save as My Favorite. I need to name my order set, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It can be Lori Hint. I'm just going to name it Lori Abdominal Pain. That way I know it's my abdominal pain order set. And I'm going to say OK. And once that saves, then I'm going to finish the next step of my signing of these orders. Then the second step, remember, is clicking on the Orders for Signature button, which shows me just the orders that were checkmarked in my order set. And they all look appropriate, and I'm going to sign these order sets. Once it signs them all, my screen should go blank and it should ask me to please refresh my screen, which I will do. Now you can see I have an admit medical care order set and I have an abdominal pain order set. Typically, all admitted patients will have at least 2 order sets, one for the admit to the location they're going and one for the diagnosis that's bringing them to the hospital.